Everybody, Keith Jones behind the binoculars here at Parks for Preakness Saturday. Later this afternoon down at Baltimore, the second jewel of the Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes, a field of 13, a very competitive betting race. And let's take a look at today's Preakness Stakes. Now, history would indicate that the winner of the Preakness almost always is a horse that comes out of the Kentucky Derby. However, in this case today, the best finisher in the Preakness Stakes from the Kentucky Derby was the horse that ran fifth, and that is Improbable, coming out of the Bob Baffert barn. Of course, Bob looking for a record 8th Preakness Stakes victory. You don't have the first, the second, the third place horse. Your best horse coming out of the Derby that's running today was the 5th place finisher. So I'm going to buck history today instead and try number 5, Owendale, who is coming out of the Brad Cox barn. Now, Brad is one of the top young trainers in the business, and if he doesn't get his first Triple Crown win here today, I don't think it's going to be long before he does so. He had 2 wins on the Preakness card yesterday. Now, Owendale is a very interesting 3-year-old here. He ran his best race of his life last time out in the Lexington Stakes at Keeneland. Now, that was back on the 13th of April, so he's had a little bit of time off. Now, prior to that victory in the Lexington, which we'll talk about in just a minute, he ran his first stakes race down in the Grade 2 Risen Star and finished well behind the likes of War of Will and Country House that day, but he had a very poor trip. He was 4 wide around both turns. He was 6 wide at the top of the stretch and really didn't factor that much. And after that race, he was given some time off, and obviously that time off helped him in his level of maturity and his growth. Coming into that race at Lexington, if you look at his workout pattern, the work 1 week before the Lexington Stakes was a bullet 5 furlong work down at Churchill Downs, and he comes into the race today with exactly the same pattern. He had a couple of maintenance works before the big work 1 week ago at Churchill Downs coming into the Preakness Stakes, so that was another bullet work at 5 furlongs for Owendale. Now, that victory of the Lexington Stakes was the best race of his career, and if you haven't watched it yet, bring it up on YouTube, because he makes an eye-catching turn of foot on the far turn when he is sweeping up past everybody on the far outside. Now, he beats a horse named Another Twist of Fate that day by almost 2 lengths at the end. He ran almost 48 feet further than Another Twist of Fate that day, and still nonetheless beats him by 2 lengths again with a very eye-catching turn of foot. His best Beyer number was that race, which was at 98. Improbable, who is going to go off as the favorite, his best Beyer number is at 99, so he is right there with Improbable if you're a player that likes to look at those Beyer numbers. And I think he comes into the race in great shape here. It looks like there should be a good bit of early speed in here, so he should have some pace to run at. He draws the 5 hole, so he should be able to get a decent trip. I don't think he's going to lose a whole lot of ground in the early going if he can again get into the clear on the outside and make something similar to that eye-catching turn of foot that he showed last time out. Right now, we've had some wagering overnight. The Friday wagering, he comes into the race. He opened up at 10-1. He's 9-1 today, so you're going to get an excellent price as well. And I think he is an absolute contender here today. And I'm going to take a shot. Race number 13, the Preakness Stakes from Baltimore. Let's make it go with number 5, Owendale, this afternoon. Good luck.